The price of a standard two-set pack of EpiPens, which has jumped over 400% in recent years, up nearly $400 since 2013, will stay right where it is right now, around $615 a pop. As the Chicago Tribune explains, that means insurers and employers that pay the bulk of the EpiPen cost for many patients will continue to do so, contributing to higher health insurance costs. In other words, Mylan will continue to rake in the cash and damn everyone else. Joining me now is Mike Papantonio, America's lawyer and host of Ring of Fire Radio, and author of the forthcoming novel Law and Disorder. Pap, welcome back.
Tom, good to be here.
Great to have you with us. Am I right in thinking that these changes Mylan has announced are just BS? I mean, what kind of actual effect do you think they'll have?
They don't amount to anything. Look, Heather Bresch, the CEO of Mylan Pharmaceuticals, just happens to be, by the way, the daughter of Democratic Senator Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin is neither Democrat nor is he anybody who cares at all about American consumers, and she doesn't either. Manchin is the definition of the Democrat name only, and she's carried that with him. She is the epitome of a Wall Street Democrat who has figured out a way to make a lot of money at the cost of consumers. So Bresch decided that saving the lives of children wasn't as important as lining her pockets with that extra cash, because at the same time she raised the price of the EpiPens, she gave herself, Tom, and she gave executives, her other executives, a 600% pay raise at the cost of the health of people that need this EpiPen. She went from making about $2.5 million a year to $19 million a year. And it wasn't just the EpiPens her company has raised the prices on, at least 24 other drugs that they sell. And that's because Big Pharma always puts profits over patients. There is no exception to that. I've been doing this for 35 years. I've never seen an exception. It's the same story I see play out all the time in courtrooms, all the time. And don't be fooled, by the way, Tom, you mentioned, don't be fooled by their announcement today that they're lowering the price. Nothing could be further from the truth. What they're actually doing is changing the income requirements, as you pointed out, for families to qualify for coupons. That's it. The price will stay the same, but if you qualify, if you can make your way through this maze of documents in order to get a coupon so you can keep yourself alive, that's all they're really offering. This is a terrible story. This is the state of where we are with the pharmaceutical industry in a Democrat, just as bad as Republican, bunch of politicians that do everything they can to give the drug industry relief, and to hell with consumers. And she is Exhibit A. This is a very ugly story, and if mainstream media would pay attention to it, they would see exactly how ugly it is, but they won't pay attention because they love the pharmaceutical industry.
Well, and this company has seen their revenue from the EpiPens go from, as I recall, around $200 million a year to $1.2 billion a year. Yeah. Obviously, they're more profitable, and so they reincorporated in the Netherlands so that they don't have to pay U.S. taxes. So not only we get screwed, they get the profit, but they don't even pay taxes on the money that they took from us.
And Tom, don't miss this point. This is Senator Manchin's daughter. Senator Manchin is this third-way Wall Street Democrat who doesn't give. I mean, let me just tell you something. I was in West Virginia, having to try one of the biggest environmental cases in the state, in America at the time, and Manchin was at every turn pushing against the people who were affected by this, pushing against their ability to be able to recover. He is wholly a corporate thug. And his daughter now, apparently, it doesn't fall far from the tree. But here's the good news. The corporate media's days of controlling the message, Tom, they're over. Independent media outlets have been talking about price gouging stories for years. Big Pharma spends about about $4.5 billion a year advertising with corporate media. So, of course, they're not going to ignore the stories. Let me give you an example, Tom, of how bad things are. The markup on Lipitor is 4,600% on Lipitor, 4,600% markup. On Prilosec, it's 69,000% markup. And our Democratic Congressional folks don't care. Prozac, it's 224,000% markup. Zoloft is 12,000% markup. Those are just a few examples of the most popular U.S. medications and how they get marked up in the United States. This is the problem. It's uniquely American. Other countries don't allow this to happen. Other countries make sure the drug industry negotiates their prices. But here in the U.S., the industry has managed to buy off Democrats more. Let me point out something. They have actually bought off more Democrats than they have Republicans where it comes to getting those politicians to prevent the negotiation of drug prices in the country. The industry tells us that these high markups are because of their high cost of research and development. That is bunk. The truth is the federal government, U.S. taxpayers are the ones who fund most of the R&D for Big Pharma to the tune of $30 billion a year. You and other taxpayers are paying for women like for the CEO to be able to say, gee whiz, you know, we want a pay raise. We want to go from $2 million a year to be paid $9 million a year. And they do it at your cost. So we're paying for our drugs twice, once for the development and again for the finished product. Drug companies spend 20% of their budget, only 20%, on research and development. The other 80% is spent on marketing and advertising. This is a horrendous story. Corporate media won't tell it because every day corporate media has some advertisement by Merck or Pfizer or Johnson & Johnson, and they don't have the damn courage to tell consumers what's happening to them in the United States right now.